What's up, friends? Welcome to Web3 Academy, a place for entrepreneurs, creators, and marketers to explore and learn how to use Web3 to transform business models and create thriving communities. Enjoy this next episode.
GM, what's up, Web3 doers? It is Web3 Academy and the weekly roll-up. I'm Jay Bird coming at you from Whistler, Canada this week. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kai. What's up, Kai?
What's going on, friends? Jaybird. I like that. We got the Jaybird nickname going on today.
All right, we got a jam-packed. I mean, every week is jam-packed. I don't know. I should stop saying it's jam-packed because I sound redundant. But Web3 is building. Things are happening. They are shipping. Launches are happening. Lots going on. We've got a bunch of news around Facebook, Meta, NFTs, a little bit of news around what's going on with Celsius and Voyager, some not so great news there, but I think on the whole, good things are happening as we push towards a safer space. Lots happening in NFTs. We're going to dive into some various use cases and where we think NFTs are going in the future. We're going to talk about phones, because everybody's building a phone right now. And we're also going to talk about identity and some things happening in that space. We're going to talk about a couple of exciting launches and new projects, some new DAOs, and some other new projects in the space. We're going to wrap up with what's going on with the ones and twos, the blockchains. And then we've got our Web3 person of the week to finish the episode today. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a banger. Before we start, let's share some gratitude. Kai, how you doing, man? What are you grateful for today?
Oh, I am grateful for longtime friends. I have a group of friends that I have known since grade 2, and we are still really close today, which I don't think many people can say. Whenever I come back to Canada, it's amazing to come back and see them, and we go out and we act like we're in high school again, and it's a great time and it's so much fun. And I got to see them over the weekend, in addition to seeing my boy Jay Bird on the weekend as well. So it was really cool to be back home and to see so many people again.
Nice. I love it.
What about you?
I'm grateful for antihistamines. My allergies have been savage recently, and I am blown away by the effectiveness of antihistamines. I'm not that I'm marketing for Claritin, but God, I take a Claritin pill and I can go from rubbing my eyes out and sneezing like nonstop to being able to survive and live my day. So
that's the funniest gratitude ever. I love it.
Wouldn't be able to get it with. All right, Kai, what's the Web3 word of the week?
The word of the week has to be identity. It's just I feel like it's all we hear, it's all we talk about. We just had Evan on the podcast this week from Disco, and we talked about this whole new world of identity. If you have not seen that podcast or listened to that podcast, go check it out. It's basically, we always talk about identity and credentials and how these are going to be non-transferable NFTs or sold NFTs. And she makes the case that that's not how we're going to do it. And we're actually going to do it all off chain. And I was mind blown. I think Jay was mind blown. We were disco pilled from this. She's also she's crazy smart. So check out that episode. And speaking of credentials, we have a credential for you as well. So we launched the Web3 Rabbit Hole course last week. This is a free course. It's about an hour and a half long, basically teaching you the foundational components of Web3 so that you can build, you can create, you can invest, you can use this space, and you can do it confidently and understand what's going on, and what's going to be around in the future and kind of where this is all going. And so it's free. And at the end, you get to mint your own proof of completion NFT on the Polygon network, which is super cool. So yeah, if you want to play around with credentials, there's a great way to practice and do it and learn while you are. So Yeah, identity is our Web3 word of the week, and we'll get more into identity throughout the show as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's jump into the news. I want to talk more about identity, but let's get into the news. Otherwise, we'll spend 30 minutes talking about identity.
Well, I think the biggest news of the week is Facebook has announced that they are launching NFTs. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal, to be completely honest. It's the exact same thing as what they're doing with Instagram, but they're now also going to be testing it on Facebook. All it means basically is a select group of people, which I think is very small at the moment, can basically do a post and show off one of their NFTs, and it basically has some shine to it, and they can click on it, see who created it, who owns it, and that kind of thing. So basically, it's Facebook and Instagram are reading the blockchain, which is super cool. They're doing this on both Ethereum and Polygon. We talked about this, I think, last month or whatever, whenever they announced with Instagram. But now they're moving over to Facebook. So I don't know if that means good things are happening over on Instagram, or if it just means like they were already doing it and they just needed to launch this as well. But either way, cool. I like it. I want to see big tech in here.
And I think it's a big deal because two reasons why I think it's a big deal. One is Facebook is the largest social media platform in the world, over 2 billion users. So you're talking about huge reach. I don't necessarily think that most people are going to see this. Like most people won't even notice this, but the fact that Facebook is playing and experimenting in the sandbox is setting them up to be a big player in the space. And I think the other thing that's really notable here is we keep talking about Facebook and Instagram and what they're doing. We're not talking much about what Apple is doing in Web3. We're not talking much about what Google is doing in Web3. Netflix, we're not talking about what they're doing in Web3 because we don't, I mean, whether they are or they aren't, we don't know. So, I think there's definitely something going on over at Facebook that they're leaning heavily in, and
when they decide to flip that switch, whatever it is, like right now they're playing, like you said, playing the sandbox. When they decide to do it, holy shit, hold on to your seats, kids. It's going to be wild. Like you said, 2 billion people. Oh man.
Now there is some danger around this though. As Facebook launches their NFTs and launches their way into the space, they're going to do it their way. They're not going to do it the Web3 way because they're a centralized company that's aiming to get profits and protect themselves. So one of our friends, actually one of our good friends, Jeff Kaufman over at Jump, had a great take on what the way Facebook is setting this up. And this is important to know. Kyle, I'll let you take this one. What was he sharing about their setup of this?
Yeah, so Jeff was just looking at the terms and service. He was actually reading their terms and service, which good on you, Jeff. I love that you do that. And so here's what it says. So given that a digital collectible, this is what they call NFTs at Instagram, is associated with an NFT that has been minted on a blockchain, once committed to the blockchain, such NFT is not designed to be edited or changed. And then in brackets, although we make no guarantees or warranties as to the foregoing. So basically it's just kind of saying like, and I don't really know how they could change anything because like it says, it is on the blockchain. So they, to be clear, they can't do anything with that. What they can do is change how that looks or interacts or whatever they build on top of that inside of their app. They could do something with, like maybe people can start following, I don't know, that NFT or something, right? Like maybe they create groups around it or whatever. They could rug that at any time. And the point that Jeff makes, I think if you go to the next picture here, what he's talking about is back in, I think it was 2011 or something like that, when Facebook pages was a thing, everything you posted on Facebook pages used to be like, it would show to everyone. And so people were building businesses off of Facebook pages. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden one day, Facebook decided to change the game and they made it where 30% of your content was actually shown to anyone unless you paid for ads to get that content out there. So they basically just rugged everyone who had a business or was doing anything on Facebook pages. And what Jeff is saying is like, look, this is all cool what they're doing. But inside of their terms and services, both on like what they're allowed to do and then on the data side is what he has up here. He's like, they can change things at any point if they want to, because again, they are a centralized company. This is not like using Lens protocol or something where everything is on chain. They're just reading the blockchain and then showing it in their own app, but they control whatever is shown or whatever interactions happen with that NFT specifically in Facebook, because yes, you can buy and trade and sell things like on the blockchain itself, and there's no one that can control that. But if Facebook decided to make a like feature for an NFT or a comment feature or a follow feature or a whatever, like they could change things with that. And so he's just making sure that people are aware, like, this is cool and they're doing digital collectibles. We love it, but just be careful. We don't know what will happen with it. And they do still have all the power. Now they can't take your NFT or anything like that. So like you still have your ownership. It's just the experience could change. That's the main thing. That's the key takeaway.
Shout out to everyone who reads terms and conditions, because we need more of you on Twitter breaking this stuff down for us. Thanks, Jeff. Also, another news from Meta, Facebook. Meta has announced that they will shut down their wallet that they were building called Novi as of September 1st. So interesting to see that they're shutting that down. Not exactly sure. They didn't release any information as to why they are shutting it down. One hypothesis that I saw was that the head of Novi has now gone to a startup that's focused on extending Bitcoin utility. So, which we won't get into the conversation of whether Bitcoin utility should be extended. I know Kyle is sitting there ready to jump on that. But one hypothesis is that with Meta's push into NFTs, and they're so focused on Ethereum and Polygon as their blockchain for this push, that maybe their entire wallet strategy has shifted and they're no longer focused on trying to build a cryptocurrency wallet, that they're more focused on this NFT marketplace and being part of the NFT space. So yeah, interesting news, and we'll see where that goes.
It's a weird one, but it's funny. Meta had the token that they were going to build, Libra, I guess, and they shut that down last year, and now they have the wallet. I'm very surprised they're shutting down the wallet. To me, I mean, we talk about all the time, wallets is like the most important infrastructure in the space. So you know what? I wonder if maybe they're going to buy a wallet. There's no way they don't go the route of a wallet. Like if they have 2 billion users, all they need to do is like give a wallet to them all and boom, right? You now have control over, not control, but you now have all the data and stuff over like 2 billion people using the future of the internet. Like how could they not go with this? I wonder if they buy one. Maybe they buy MetaMask. Start rumors. See what they do. But I mean, what's cool though is they're, like you said, they're experimenting, right? They were trying to build their own token. They're trying to build their own wallet. They're now like reading the blockchain. They're doing things. So that's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing that, and we had a conversation earlier this week for an upcoming podcast with Grant from one of the founders of GM. And that was one of the biggest things he said. He was like, your roadmap changes constantly. He was like, you just got to build and keep trying and experimenting and not be afraid to be wrong, because you will be wrong. And what you thought 2 months ago will be different.
100. Okay, so we got some news out of Europe. So with some regulation. So we always talk about the US regulation and kind of where that's going. And that's just as slow as can be. And I'm sure Europe is very similar, but we do have some news coming out of Europe now. And so after 2 to 3 years of discussion, they have what's called, is it MiCA? MiCA? What does it stand for? I don't even know what that stands for.
I don't know.
Capital M, lowercase I, capital C, capital A. What is that? Anyway, whatever it is, some governing body in the European government, et cetera, basically has some regulators. And what they're trying to do here is trying to regulate issuers and service providers, so like exchanges and things, of crypto assets. And then it also introduces rules against market abuse. And so its main goal is to harmonize the EU market, so to get standards across all of Europe, which makes sense, create regulatory certainty, which is amazing for companies trying to build in the space, improve consumer protection and prevent fraud, and strengthen financial stability. This is basically the same thing that the US came out with in their, was it earlier this year? I forget what it's called, but what they're trying to do as well. So to be clear, what they're really doing here is they are regulating the centralized companies, which honestly, this is needed. The centralized companies that are building on top of crypto, not crypto assets themselves. So all of this has to do with exchanges, has to do with things like Circle, which would be like, you know, the company that has USDC and now the US, or not US, sorry. What did you call it? Your
Rock. Your
Your
rock.
rock, yeah, the Euro coin. So basically, any centralized company that is holding on to assets or doing things and facilitating the use of crypto assets, that's what they're trying to regulate. They have no regulation on NFTs. They have no regulation on DeFi. Truly decentralized DeFi protocols is how they call it. It's not in their scope, though they look to potentially have some regulation on that by 2023. Same with potentially NFTs by 2023. Good luck. I don't know what they're going to do. That's going to be a tough one to figure out. One of the big things that came out of this is the proof of work ban that Europe had been talking about for the longest time. That's off the table. That's no longer going to be a thing. So that is really good news for the Bitcoin world. What else did we have? NFTs were exempt, and there was a few other things. Oh, stablecoins is the big one. So stablecoins, basically what they're doing here is that issuers of stablecoins need to have a EU presence. So I think that's just they want to get some taxes maybe, and they want to get the businesses in there. They need to have reserve protected in case of insolvency. They need to what was the other one? There's caps on how much they can issue on like a daily basis, which is kind of weird, but sure. And then there's no exemptions for algo stablecoins. So algo stablecoins need to be protected with reserves. It cannot be based off of an algorithm, which I fully support, at least right now. I don't know, like maybe algorithm stablecoins become a thing in the future. I don't really understand how, but so that's good. And then they just have some other stuff that we're not going to get into on like AML, KYC, all that kind of stuff. All they're doing is basically just making sure that centralized companies have their ducks in order, so we don't have things that happen like Celsius, Voyager, which we're going to get into soon, maybe next. I don't know. But good job. And actually, so everyone who's I've seen comment on this is like, this is actually really good. This is going to push the industry forward. This is going to allow big companies to start building in the space because they have some certainty. Now, it doesn't answer everything, but it answers a lot. And that's good. We want this. We want more of that, to be honest.
Yeah, agreed. Regulation headed in a good direction for all of us. And the reason it's headed in a good direction is because we need it, because Celsius has cut 150 jobs amid their restructuring. So we've got some failings happening. And the reason we have failings is because there's people that are running these companies that, quite frankly, we think they know what they're doing, but they don't, right? And they're not taking the time and the care to do this the right way. And at the same time,
we have Voyager, which has filed for bankruptcy. So you have Celsius, which did not go bankruptcy, but they're pretty much bankrupt. They've actually just paid off, I think it was this morning, they paid off their they had a loan out in MakerDAO for like, I don't even know, hundreds of millions of dollars of wrapped Bitcoin, which everyone was afraid if that got liquidated, like that would have really tanked the markets. They had been paying that off, and it's fully paid off now. So that's all free, and that Bitcoin's theirs now and in their hands, which is good for the industry, I think. So Celsius, can they survive? I have no idea what their liquidity is and how much they have. I don't think anyone will trust them again. I'm sure that the moment they still have withdrawals closed. So anyone, once they open that up, like who's not going to move their money off of Celsius? So I don't see a future for Celsius, but let's see. Voyager's another one. They're similar to Celsius where they do lending and things like that. They're also an exchange and they have their own token. They filed for bankruptcy, so they're out. They almost got bought by FTX, but I think they just couldn't even salvage it. The reason, what actually happened with a lot of these, so one was they were over leveraged in DeFi, a lot of these companies, Celsius, whatever. The other big thing that happened here, there was Three Arrows Capital, which is a trading firm, the biggest in the space in crypto, and everyone thought these guys were the legends. It was Suzu and Kyle Davies. Like these guys were like, man, everyone thought they were so smart. They kind of ran the markets. And so what happened was all of these big centralized companies lended them a shit ton of money. So Voyager lended them $650 million to just go and make basically the idea is give them 650 million. 3AC goes and trades it and makes money with it. And then Voyager can skim off the top to make profits and then also use that to pay the yield that they're giving to their clients. So Celsius did this with 3AC, Voyager. It was like a ton of companies in the space, and 3AC lost it all. So they couldn't pay back any of these loans, and basically just, yeah. curiosity is kind of the reason that most of this happened. So Voyager out, 3 Arrows Capital out, Celsius hanging on for dear life, but had to let go of 150 people. Let's go to the next one there. Unless you got something you want to add.
Yeah, I think the obvious thing to add is if somebody is offering you yields that seem too good to be true, they probably are too good to be true.
Right. And honestly, it's like, do you really need a 5% or a 6% or a 10% yield on an asset that like goes up 200% per year on average? Like, fuck, how greedy are we? But anyway, Hayden Adams, who's the founder of Uniswap, he put out a nice take today or the other day on Twitter. Just says TLDR of crypto this past month. Green check mark. Transparent and automated real DeFi protocols function flawlessly and were highly effective at protecting users. And then the red X, opaque human operated centralized platforms gambled with users' funds and lost it all, hurting their users. It's basically the exact wrap up of what's happened here. And yeah, it's crazy what's happening, but I think it seems as though we are getting through it all. And I think the worst has happened in terms of the liquidations and that stuff. But I mean, maybe someone else implodes, but let's move on to NFTs because I think that's a happier space. What do you think, Jay?
I think so too. Let's start next week with NFTs. It's much better news.
Well, I hate the news. Like, to be honest, I'm at home at my parents right now, and they watch the 6 o'clock news every single day. And every time I come upstairs after I'm done work, I go up there and it's just like negative news, just talking about all the bad things happening. I'm like, guys, turn this shit off. But I guess we do it, but our news isn't so bad. It's very different.
But that's what sells, right? You know, the controversy and the conflict, that's what sells. Right. The building stuff isn't as exciting, except for the doers on Web3 Academy podcast. And if you're listening,
health tip for this podcast episode, I think we gave one last episode as well, is to consume positive and optimistic information on a daily basis, especially in the morning. The first thing you can do is don't turn on the news or open up your social media. Instead, read a self-development book or something good, and that'll get you in a nice mindset to start the day. It's gonna be a new thing.
Health tips. I like that. Let's make that a thing. Okay, we got a great thread here from Cantino.eth, one of the founders of Consumer Packaged Goods NFT project, which is a great NFT project, developing a great community in the space. And basically, he has created this thread of where do NFTs go from here? And we're just going to walk through this thread because there's so many great points. And I think a lot of us need to understand more about the use cases for NFTs. So to date, the value of NFTs has been expressed primarily in speculative short-term gains. The resulting collapse of the market and its dependencies on milking IP through derivatives and airdrops is not shocking. But what comes next is more inspired and creative than anything we have seen. So first, tokenized hobbyism. Every pastime from cooking to sports to wellness to woodworking will establish high-value tokenized networks. The token value will not be derived by how much one can flip it for, airdrops or staking, but through engagement, learning, and networking. Like, I think this is an obvious one. We all value communities where we can find people that love the same thing as us, can give us feedback, can talk about the same thing, can curate. We all really appreciate curation. So tokenized hobbyism makes a lot of sense, being able to access tokenized communities where you can share with people that love the same thing as you.
Right. Professionalized networks, kind of similar, but just a different type of community. But you can pay member dues to join your local chapter of builders, or you can buy NFTs, granting access to seminars and 24/7 global chats with people exploring Web3. And then, of course, the benefit here is because, of course, you can do this in Web2 world, just signing up for a subscription or whatever. But in this world is you own your membership, right? So tokenized networks will be key to building in a bear market. I think there's just so much utility that happens around something because it can be used as your means to buy and unlock something, but then it's also owned and you can use it to program other things and give access here, and you can just do so many more things with it.
Minimum viable communities. Many projects forged promising utility, but struggled to create sustainable models. Rather than call it quits, they will decentralize minimizing expenditure and passing off operations to contributors in an effort to create minimum viable communities. I think this is a natural one that's going to happen because a lot of projects made a lot of money, had a roadmap, and had no idea how to execute on it, but you still have a community, right? You still have NFT holders. A lot of these communities are still pretty excited and active. So it'll be interesting to see where they take that.
Yeah, that is interesting. What happens when a product fails or something fails, but people still own those NFTs, which are still scarce, right? And still have a community around it. It's like they can go create a new product, or they can do an M&A, right? They can merge an acquisition as NFT project funding and resources dry up, whether due to crypto winter, mismanagement, or failure to compete. Communities will strategically unite to pool capital, access, and tooling to combine resources and member benefits, from profile picture mergers to holding DAOs. I mean, we already saw this with Yuga Labs buying CryptoPunks. I'm sure this is going to be the norm. And what's crazy is like, it's so much easier to do mergers and acquisitions in Web3 because it's just all through tokens and NFTs than in the Web2 world where you got to go through a million different legal infrastructures and whatever. So you can have them just flying around, just buying up whatever and selling whatever. Yeah, it can be crazy.
Retailers from 7-Eleven to GameStop will use NFTs to incentivize in real life transactions, leveraging creators to drive traffic to storefronts. For example, Yeezy NFTs that airdrop with purchases from Gap stores, or NFTs that unlock exclusive features for Tesla vehicles. I think this one's fairly straightforward. I'm not even going to expand on it, but there's a ton that you can do with the crossover. And I think we're talking a lot about how do you cross over digital products to in real life products. And there's, retail is a big part of that for NFTs.
Research and development. So brands and creators will exchange NFTs for insights on product development, pain points, marketing claims, roadmaps, and more. The NFTs will unlock early access to product releases and potential profit sharing. Brands will track and maintain these key relationships. This is what Adidas did, right? They dropped a bunch of NFTs for anyone who came to their first event in the metaverse. And then as a result, they got a bunch of bonuses with other NFTs and things like that. Why would you not do that? You create kind of a footprint on the blockchain with your top users, and then you can reward them and do different things with them. So cool unlock with NFTs there.
I particularly like this one because I like giving feedback to products that I enjoy, right? I think we all have those moments. You buy a new suitcase and you're like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a pocket for my sunglasses here, right? Or a pocket for this, and you want to give that feedback, and incentivizing users to give that feedback makes huge sense. And it develops super fans who are capable to elevate your products. So huge potential. Loyalty exchanges. As brands and creators seek to reinforce loyalty, community behavior will be rewarded with NFTs. Did the member contribute content? NFT. Complete surveys? NFT. Make a purchase? NFT. Tokens are more liquid and brag-worthy than traditional discount codes. I mean, as you get loyalty, right, you can use NFTs for rewarding loyalty. And the great thing about that is you can then, that's liquid, you can sell it, right? So right now, the typical loyalty is you get points and then you turn those points into some sort of reward. But as we've seen, those points can expire. The point company can actually shut them down. They can rug you from those points. And a lot of people don't want the rewards that they're offering, right? I often find when you have points, the rewards are useless to you. So having an NFT has more liquid value, which is, exciting.
It's funny, as we go through all these, you could do NFTs. You could also do your typical ERC20, like your social token as well with these, right? You can go either way with them. And I think both have great utility depending on just how you want things to work. Multiplayer, what's this one? NFTs will create hive activity by incentivizing group behavior. MMORPGs. This is a gaming term.
Something role player games.
Yeah, right. That unlock levels once 10K users have aped in. Airdrops of rare NFTs to collector cohorts that have signed contracts to merge their base layer NFTs. Collecting is going to become a team sport, right? So collecting, obviously, we love collecting. Humans, it's the thing we've always done. Now you can do it digitally, and you can gamify it inside of games, right? So having them collect certain, I mean, we already do gamify collecting all the time. Pokemon, for example, and now you can do it in games. You can do it digitally. A business can do it easily. So super cool.
Content submission. Users will submit content like short form videos, reviews, and tutorials in exchange for loyalty NFTs. It's a marketing flywheel. Rights can be programmed into contracts so that the use of the contributor's content in advertising could yield future profits. This one's amazing. We've talked about this at Web3 Academy. We've had a few people contribute articles that we have then produced on our newsletter and filmed podcasts over top. And we want to reward those people. So we're trying to figure out how to do that currently. And we're looking into actually using a token rather than an NFT in this case. But the point here is, it's a marketing flywheel when you can reward your users for submitting content. And let's be honest, user generated content is often the best content. It's so authentic, it's so real. Most advertising companies out there actually make user generated content so that it looks like a user made it, but it was just made by an advertising company. And then you tack on top the ability to program into the contract that if like I made that content and then Nike uses that content in an ad in the future, that I get future profit from that. That's huge.
Everybody becomes a freelancer / contributor, I feel like, in the Web3 world, right? Because you can just start getting yields and rewards and whatever from everything you do. It's crazy. Services. NFTs will unlock access to services and hobbyist communities. Q&As and tutorials with influencer chefs, photographers, doctors, and niche enthusiastic communities will boom. This will also extend into in real life services like transportation, hotels, and spas. I mean, you can do anything with NFTs, right? It's just digital ownership that is programmable. And you can, I mean, I went to a restaurant in Colombia, and the only way you could get into this restaurant was by scanning a code, like this scanner, and you had to have an NFT in your wallet. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And it automatically opened the door and I could just go in. I was like, whoa, this is cool. So yeah, you can program anything in these things. All right, how many more we got here, Jay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe we should skip some of these there's
so many here. There's so many. Holy shit.
Okay, we're gonna skip
if
this.
you want the rest of these, the link is in our newsletter. Check it out. There's a bunch. Borrowing platforms, collateralization. That's
this one's cool. Let's read this last one to finish up.
All right.
Okay, borrowing platforms. And there's been a lot of talk around borrowing platforms on the NFT side. We talked about NFTX a couple of weeks ago, I think, and there's some other borrowing platforms coming up. But so because NFTs can unlock temporary access, just like Kyle said, you need an NFT to access a restaurant or to access a conference. VCon, you needed the VFriends NFT to access you get airdropped the VCon ticket. So there's going to be a market for short-term lending, right? So for example, Quintino here gives an example of where he has personally lent his FWB, his friends with benefit token, so that his friends can attend a local event. So you can imagine a marketplace for this where you don't want to sell your NFT, but there's some event happening in LA. You don't live in LA. Well, I can loan access to my NFT to somebody in order to attend that event. So you can really see the potential there of lending, basically borrowing and lending NFTs.
Oh, that's interesting. That's actually super cool.
Super cool. Yeah. Okay, let's continue along with the NFTs. We'll put the link to that Quintino thread in the show notes. So Ethereum scaler Arbitrum had to hit pause on their NFT campaign, their Odyssey campaign. So they released this campaign, which was a super cool, we talked about it a few weeks in the podcast, super cool marketing campaign, whereby essentially they would reward you with NFTs and tokens for participating in using Arbitrum and using other protocols.
Arbitrum.
Sorry. Did I say Arbitrum?
Arbitrum, like a transformer.
That's a word, like Tron. Arbitrum. Thank you. So they would reward you with NFTs for using the protocol for bridging your assets, which was a great idea. You encourage people to use your protocol and play with it, and then you reward them with NFTs. The problem is, it actually really worked. It was so effective that they brought so much traffic onto Arbitrum that one day I saw, there's a great photo here. On one day, Arbitrum gas fees actually were higher than Ethereum gas fees.
What?
Now, Arbitrum is a layer 2 people. So their entire mission is low gas fees or no gas fees as a way to exist. So obviously, when this started to happen, they decided to pause the campaign until their new product, I'll call it Nitro, comes out. Because once Nitro comes out, that should lower transaction fees and allow more flow through across the network. So yeah, great.
Yeah, so
a
lot of
good
these
thing to happen, I guess. I don't know. You know,
a lot of these layer twos,
so well.
a lot of these layer twos have like training wheels on. So I mean, they only launched in September of last year, so they're not even a year old. And so they still have like you can call them throttlers or whatever is what some people call them, but basically it's like they don't want it to work at its max capacity yet because they're still working through kinks and bugs and things like that. And so they're still on for Arbitrum. Arbitrum Nitro is when they take a lot of those off and they start to rev it up, and that's when the fees are going to go down significantly. And it could probably, we'll see, handle this kind of traffic. So pause it, because they have a bunch of other like communities and apps and things on there that are already like, they have a strong ecosystem even without this like big marketing campaign. So they didn't want to ruin the experience for the existing communities that are on there. So I actually think it's a smart move. Shut her down for a bit. Let's get Nitro out, and then we'll take it from there.
BlockbusterDAO failed to buy the Blockbuster IP. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was a BlockbusterDAO that was spun up, sort of similar to Constitution DAO. Their objective being to buy the IP to Blockbuster and then to resurface the brand. And there's a lot of brand association and brand love around Blockbuster. Now, Dish Network, which owns Blockbuster's rights, even though there is only one Blockbuster left in America, and they're not using the rights, like there is no, as far as I know, there's nothing happening with the Blockbuster brand, but Dish Network would not sell the IP to Blockbuster, apparently specifically to the DAO. They were pretty clear that they won't sell it to a DAO. So I don't know if that's like Web 2 FUD or like, I don't even know, pre-web. It's like Blockbuster's Web 0 FUD of them being like, screw DAOs. We don't want anything to do with you. We're not selling it to you. So anyways, but Blockbuster DAO is now pivoting, and they are going to create some form of a video, I don't know if it's video retail or online video service called Rewind. So it's not dead in the water, but
tough go. They shot the shot though, at least. Man, these ENS domains. Have you seen what's going on here? These things are nuts. It's the one like bull market in the middle of this bear market. There was an ENS domain 000.eth sold for 300 ETH. Was this yesterday, 2 days ago? $328,000 is the second largest sale ever for an ENS domain. Insane. I don't know why people want that, but they want it. So it's crazy though.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, I guess it's short and easy to spell and will come up first on a directory because zeros comes up before letters. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. What directory? All right, phones. So we talked about Solana phone, was it called Saga or something like that, a couple weeks ago. And all of a sudden, we got like our next 3 or 4 news articles here are all about phones. I don't know what's going on, but Web3 phones is like all of a sudden just a thing. I kind of feel it's all a little bit of a hoax. I don't think anyone's actually close to it, but let's see. So this one says HTC launches metaverse phone on top of Ethereum and Polygon. So go down a little bit. Basically, what is it that they get? So it's preloaded with, I believe, a wallet, and then preloaded with some apps and things that, so here it is, with Viverse apps and Vivi wallets built into the phone. Users can create virtual avatars and manage crypto assets, including NFTs and crypto on Ethereum and Polygon natively in the phone. So that's cool. Says it's actually launched already. And it's their expansion into Web3. It's an 8 gig RAM and 128 gig storage device, $403. Wow, that's cheap. I guess it's HTC. Yeah, I don't know. So it's weird. It's kind of all coming at the same time. But looks like we're about to start having Web3 shit on phones, and that's cool. Then we have another one, Polygon, to enable Web3 functionality in smartphones with Nothing collaboration. So there's a company called Nothing, and basically, Polygon has announced a partnership with Nothing, the creator of a phone. I don't know what exact kind of phone it is, but the Ethereum scaling protocols tech will be integrated into Nothing's first smartphone. While Polygon won't be manufacturing its own smartphone, the partnership aims to bring crypto NFTs to a larger audience by enabling access to Web3 functionality to such users. So again, I think what it does basically is like connecting in wallets and that. And so it all becomes sort of native. Right now, when we use our phone, we have to like download, let's say MetaMask. And then when we want to use, I don't know, like whatever app on our phone, and I mean, most of it's not, it's actually browser based. We have to jump out of that app, go over to the MetaMask wallet, sign that transaction, go back over to that app. It's a bit of a pain. And so these sort of native Web3 phones, and or the next one we see is actually not a phone, but it is an operating system. These just allow it to be sort of like native within there. And so this is ETH OS, which is announced. They have news. We've launched the first build of ETH OS, or ETH operating system. It's easy to install, updates OTA, whatever that is, and it has features to onboard Light Node, and it can install on a Pixel 3 or a Pixel 5a. So basically, this is your ability to install an Ethereum-based operating system right onto your existing phones. You don't actually need a new phone now. You can just use your own if you have a Pixel 3 or Pixel 5a. And again, this just brings sort of native apps and things to your phone as well. So very interesting. I had never even heard of this until a couple of weeks ago, or even thought that this was going to be the case. But I think it makes sense, and I think it's going to improve that UX for a lot of people as this gets built out.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway here is we all talk about the UX problem in Web3, and Apple solved the UX problem in Web2 by creating great hardware, right? And so hardware is directly tied to the ability to have great UX. And so a lot of these Web3 companies are like, well, the problem is Apple and Google aren't really playing ball right now with Web3, because they have high take rates, and they want high percentages if they're going to play in the game, and Web3 doesn't want that. So there's just sort of this like standoff happening. So yeah, so screw it, go around them. We're going to make our own phones and our own operating systems. I think both Kai and I probably believe, and I think many believe, I don't know if these phones are going to take off and all of a sudden, take over Apple for having, the most market share of phones worldwide, but it's going to force Apple and Google to do more and to allow us to use more Web3 natively in the phone. So
there was a chart. I was trying to find it for the show, but it was showing the pre-sales for the Solana, the Saga phone. And basically they reached, I think, 2,500 pre-sales. That's it. And the chart went like parabolic right off the start, and then just quick curve, and then just leveled right out. And now the last like however many weeks or whatever, it's basically like just slowly climbing. And people who are in the space were just like, yeah, you can't build a profitable business with that amount. You need like, I think it was like 10x or 20x, whatever they had. So there's just not enough people in the space, right? And especially if it's just Solana, you have like one community in a small. Web3 is already small as it is. Like, I don't think you're getting that traction yet. Most people don't understand the need for Web3. They're not going to go buy a new phone. Like, of course they're going to stick with their
right. I don't even have a wallet. Like, why do I need a new phone?
Exactly. They don't get it. Most people still hate NFTs, and now we're already trying to launch phones where you can use your NFTs. Like, come on. It makes no sense. Now, this is a kick-ass app though. So Dialect, I can't remember if we talked about them before or not, but they were launching basically a way to like SMS on inside of your wallet, so you can message people from wallet to wallet. But what they've done is now built almost like WhatsApp, where you can scroll down. I think it's on the second tweet there. But now they have like group chats where you can message like group wallet chats from one wallet to another and have a bunch of them kind of in. So that's really cool. It has notifications, and not sure if there's anything else in there. I just really like the group chat idea with wallets. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that stuff to play out, because I think we need more interactions on our, yeah, here it is. You'll be able to DM and have group chats right inside your wallet. And I think that's just super cool. Because we need more things to do on the wallet, because then I think it makes it more. Right now, people are scared to use their wallets because every time you do it, you got to sign these weird transactions. You don't know what's going on. So people don't really get familiar with the intricacies of the wallet. But if we're in there because we're messaging and we're doing other things, like you start to just get really familiar with what that wallet is and how it all works. So the more functionality we can include in there, I think it's going to be better for wallets overall.
Yeah, I think messaging is another big area of Web3 that is, and we're actually having Jaff, one of the founders of EPNS, which is Ethereum protocol messaging service, notification service, on the podcast in a few weeks. So if anybody listening has any questions or is involved in messaging, reach out to us. We'd love to chat with you and get you involved in the upcoming podcast, or bring in your questions, because there's a lot in the space of messaging around token gated messaging. Anyways, won't go too far down that rabbit hole today, but we will soon.
All right, here we go. Back to identity, which was the word of the week. This is Matrix. So they have just launched a decentralized Web3 credential protocol. Matrix is built on a layer 2 of Ethereum called Metis. Fun fact I learned from our community, from Ian. Thanks for this, Ian. Metis DAO was created by Vitalik's mom. I don't know if this is actually true, but this is what I was told, and I thought that was very interesting. I never knew that before. But yeah, so what Matrix is building is just a way to have credentials tied to your identity. And we've talked about this a lot. We think that this is kind of the future of where things are going. So it's your soulbound NFTs. And when you do certain things or achieve certain things, whether that's education or doing things in communities or whatever, you get like these NFTs that are non-transferable, and it helps to build your reputation. So that's really what Matrix is building, which is great. I think there's tons. We have Polygon ID coming on the podcast in a few weeks. Similar thing, but this is identity. This is using that one's using zero knowledge proofs. This one's just using a layer 2, not zero knowledge. Then we have Evan on the podcast this week, who is doing the same thing, but now it's off chain rather than on chain. If you want to learn why that matters, go listen to that podcast. I'm telling you, it's the best podcast you're going to listen to. Like shit, this identity, here's the two things. Phones, like hardware, seems to be a hot topic right now. I don't know that sticks around. I feel like that fizzles out for a bit and comes back like maybe in the next bull run. I don't know. But identity seems to be something that everyone is focusing on. I see credential stuff like daily, new protocols and new apps that are trying to do something with credentials and with identity. I think this is the big next unlock that comes out in Web3 is on-chain / off-chain identity. It's just it just makes so much sense, right? And so yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, Matrix is one of the tools that's building, and there are many others.
Yeah, excited to see how that plays out for sure. And it'll only be a good thing for so many of us, because our identity and our reputation is so convoluted right now, and so much is based upon, it's all offline, and it's easy to fake and easy to fraud, and there's so many issues that come with that. And
it's segmented across every single app you ever use. Your Airbnb app, you have a reputation. Your Uber app, you have one. Amazon, you have one. Like, depending on what your Google reviews, like your LinkedIn, they're everywhere, but you can't connect any of them. And so that's what this is going to do, is going to connect what's happening in the real world, connect everything happening online, all into one, right? And I think that's freaking amazing.
Yeah, totally. Okay, another launch this week. Lowe's, what do we call it? Renovation home hardware style a company and retail store, has announced their metaverse plans. It's called Open Builder. And I actually think this is pretty cool. I mean, Lowe's isn't necessarily the most exciting retailer, but they're a massive American company. And what they are doing is they're creating this Open Builder, this metaverse where you can go in and you can build your home. And so you can move furniture around, you can use, this this 3D or this, I should say 2D metaverse. Ideally, hopefully this involves VR at some point, and you'll be able to, do a home walkthrough or see how your renovation project will come to life. I think there's a lot of use cases with this that'll be really, really cool for people like me who are currently renovating their homes.
I just can't stop laughing at it. It includes an NFT hard hat. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell do you need that for? You know, what this reminds me of that's actually really cool about this is I was trying to buy a safe, I think it was on Amazon like last year or 2 years ago. And there was an option to use I think it's AI, augmented reality. And I could like, if I click the button, it would show on my phone. It would it just showed like a camera view of my house that I was in, and it showed the safe. Not like, well, I don't know why it mattered for a safe. It's not like that's like a decoration or something, but it had it, and I could like put it on my like TV stand or put it on my kitchen table. And I was in an Airbnb. I was like, this is so useless. I'm not even going to use this here. And, like, who cares? I thought it was hilarious, but it was cool. I was like, oh, this would be sick if you were going to buy, I don't know, like a vase or something, or a picture frame, right? Like you could put it on your wall. And this kind of takes that, I guess, to another level. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Another announcement, Reddit is launching a new NFT avatar marketplace. So Reddit, obviously, a big player in Web 2 and has been experimenting with different things in Web 3. They talked about launching a social token previously. We haven't really seen anything come out about that. And then they also talked about doing what Twitter was doing and allowing you to use any NFT as your profile picture or your avatar. But now they're launching their own NFT avatar marketplace. Basically, they're releasing 90 different designs. And I think the main takeaway here is you can buy an NFT through Reddit on their marketplace with fiat. You can use your credit card or your debit card. You don't have to have crypto. So they're clearly focused at onboarding their current user base in a simple way. And also you do it using their wallet. I'm trying to remember the name of their wallet. Can't remember.
Did it have a name? I didn't even know it did.
Yeah, I think it does. Something with a V. Can't remember, but you do it using their wallet. And then you have, your avatar. I mean, this connects strongly to identity as well. Our avatars and our profile pictures are such a big part of our identity. And in Web3, we have this anonymous identity combined with our real life identity. And how does that play in? But great to see Reddit really launching something that I think is going to onboard more people to Web3 and allow people to play around and buy their first NFT.
It's only their own NFTs. They're not like integrating or allowing you to show or use other NFTs, which is kind of weird. But again,
yes,
it's education, I guess, for their users. And I'm sure they just want to experiment and play around, I guess, and do it in a way where they can make some revenue. So they weren't going to launch a social token. What they were doing is they're actually building. They announced, like, I think it was in 2020, maybe it was early 2021, that they are building. It must have been 2021 because they're building on Arbitrum, not Arbitrum. And and they're building the ability for any community on Reddit, any subreddit, to launch their own token. And they already have two of them. I forget which ones they are. I think one was Fortnite and something else. But anyway, they were going to do this and allow it for all communities, which would be crazy. I assume the reason they have not done it or update anyone is because of regulation, right? They can't just go and allow every community to launch all these tokens. And so I bet you they're waiting for that, which is, again, why we need regulation. Because the moment they do that, holy shit, they have like 600 million users, I think. Something like that. And if they could all of a sudden have a wallet and be able to use tokens within their subreddits, geez, it'd be massive.
Vault, that's the name of Reddit's blockchain wallet.
Nice. Did you Google that, or did it just come to you?
No, it's right here in front of me on this on this article. And what's interesting, so you'll be able to store and manage these NFTs using Vault. But you can also use Vault already to earn blockchain-based community points on Reddit, and then you can spend them on special features like badges and animated emojis. So again, this just kind of comes back to like that use case we were talking about NFTs. There's just so much potential to use, whether it be NFTs or whether it be ERC 720 tokens. You can use these tokens in so many ways to incentivize your users, to allow them to have more ownership of their stuff on your platform. And Reddit, obviously a giant in the Web2 space, is, you know, like everybody jumping in and playing in the sandbox, trying to figure it out.
Love it. All right, this should have been the DAO of the month, but that's not what we have this month. So we're just going to say it anyway. But feel free to take over, Jay. What do we got here?
Choice DAO. I'm not exactly sure when this launched, but fairly recently. Basically, this is a community DAO that is launched to leverage community and capital to combat one of the greatest threats to personal liberty in our lifetime. They are essentially raising money to combat the U.S. Supreme Court when they struck down Roe versus Wade, and basically moved us backwards of 50 years of progression, erased in an instant. And abortion will likely be banned in 26 states as a result of this, which is just absolutely crazy. And I can't believe we're having this conversation at this point in 2022. It just like boggles my mind. But thankfully, a group got together and has created Choice DAO. Basically, what they're doing right now is they're aiming to raise $1 million in 26 days for reproductive access. They have a Discord. They've set this up as a DAO, so there's a multi-sig. They have plans of like where the money will go right now. What they're saying is the money will go to the most impactful organizations nationwide that support reproductive access, especially within underserved communities. Within 1 week of raising 1 million, we'll hold the first of our 4 community town halls to decide, in partnership with expert advisors, how to deploy each $250,000 tranche. Community voting will help direct the use of subsequent funds.
This to me is one of the like key unlocks of a DAO, is a way to just pool a bunch of money. And then instead of pooling that much money to some random charity that you don't know if they're actually going to do anything with it or what they're doing, it's like you can pool this money with a bunch of people who you know are like-minded and obviously have the same mission. And it's like we can all vote together and decide how we want to distribute that money. And we don't have to distribute all 1 million to one thing. We can slowly do it, right? We can have meetings and we can vote and we can like do this in a structured way and just make our decisions and roll with it. And I think that's super, super cool. And a massive unlock. You can't really do that in the Web2 world. Like you could crowdfund or Kickstarter, I guess, but like that just goes to one person. And now that centralized person or entity decides where that goes. Whereas in this way, we all get to vote and kind of make some decisions. So they haven't launched yet, but they're launching soon. But check out choicedao.org or head to their Discord and you can get in on the conversation if you want to be a part of it and help out.
Yeah. Shout out to all the, there's a name list of their core team on here. Too many names to list. There's about 20 people here, but shout out to these heroes for taking this on. We need this right now when our liberties and our choices are taken away from us in this way. All right. The ones and twos. What's going on in blockchains today, Kai?
We did it. We were one step closer yesterday. We had the next test merge on Ethereum, and this was the Sequoia, I believe it's called. Scroll down. Let's get the actual name. Sequoia Sepolia. That's it. Sepolia. So this is the second test net on Ethereum. They merged it yesterday and had 0 problems, basically. Now, sometimes the problems come a few days or weeks in, so we need to wait a couple of weeks just to check on it and see how it went. And then there's one more test, and this is the big one, which is Goerli, I believe is how you pronounce it. And this is the last test net. This is like the main test net. If that one goes, or once that one goes, which should happen in 3 to 4 weeks, let's say early August, then it's basically go time. And so we are looking at, the last time we talked about this, it was kind of looking at August. It's looking like it's going to be a bit later than that now. could still be end of August, like best case scenario, probably looking more like September. And then like if something happens, then maybe October, but it's looking like September is a pretty high chance at this point. But a chance that it could be August, which is crazy. August is next month. Fuck, let's go.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Well, man, time is flying. Like, what the
I
hell?
know.
July already. What?
I know.
This is crazy. 2022. Like, don't even know what happened this year. Another big one. So fuck, we talk about Immutable every week. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep talking about Immutable. They are not a sponsor of ours. I would like them
but
to
if
be.
you
To
want
be
to be,
yeah. But I think their audience is all gamers, and I mean, I guess it's builders, and that could be our audience. I just don't know how much. We didn't even know what MMORPG or whatever that was. So tough to get as a sponsor, but still a big fan. I think, honestly, I think that they are going to onboard more people in this space than anyone in the next couple of years. They're just, I mean, every week they're launching something that's just huge. This week, what they did is they have launched an ETH off ramp from Immutable to like basically your bank. So you can go from a layer 2 of Ethereum. I don't think this exists anywhere else. And you can take your ETH and you can just off ramp it right into your bank account and turn it into fiat. So you don't even have to go, like, typically what you'd have to do is either like send it over. Well, I don't think you can go Immutable to like Coinbase. You'd have to go Immutable to Ethereum mainnet to your Coinbase account or your whatever account. And then from there to your bank account. Right? That's a fee every step of the way. And that's just a pain. And most people don't even know how to do that. Now you can literally go right in. You can go from your banks into Immutable, and then you can go right out too. So what this does is it allows developers. So first of all, Immutable is also gasless. So now you have this sort of like layer 2 that is completely gasless. They have a great set of tools for builders to build their games on, to launch NFTs and do things inside of their games. And now you have their own built-in wallets in there as well. You can fund your wallet directly from your bank account. They have marketplaces where you can just use your MasterCard or your, I think it's just MasterCard. I'm not sure if Visa's in there yet. So you can buy and sell NFTs without touching any Ethereum, or sorry, any crypto. And then you can go and play your games, do what you want, sell your NFTs, earn your NFTs playing games, sell them, and then take that money and put it back in your bank account. And you don't have to touch the rest of the ecosystem. And that to me is just pretty incredible. They're creating an amazing UX specifically for gamers and game developers. And it's just so niche and just such a good experience. And it's not there yet, but it's close and it's incredible. Kudos, Robbie and the crew at Immutable. Speaking of building some sweet stuff.
Speaking of, very exciting news, very, very exciting news. Web3 Academy, we are spinning out a DAO. Web3 Academy DAO is going to be a tokenized community, which is forming out of our Web3 Academy Discord. And it's been amazing to see. The Discord has got over 700 people in it, and a core team of about 10 have stepped up and said, hey, let's build together. There's so much happening in the space. And it's amazing how many people are looking for opportunities to build, and they're looking really to find their community. And there's a lot of people in the community finding each other and looking for opportunities. So the DAO aims to further the mission of Web3 Academy by creating resources, products, and services to better support the wave of entrepreneurs, businesses, and creators moving into Web3 over the coming decade. If you would like to be involved, if you're interested in being involved in the Web3 Academy DAO, if you want to be part of building something, if you're looking for a team to work with, or you're looking for a project to be part of, we would love for you to get involved. Give us a shout. Send a DM to myself or to Kyle, or just post in the Discord in the general chat that you're eager to get involved. Just raise your hand, and yeah, we'll get you involved in the DAO, because it's going to be exciting stuff to come.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's like we started this media platform, this podcast and newsletter, et cetera, to educate, right? And we weren't really sure that we were going to build anything. Jay and I don't really want to, or have the skills to build a product or some tools or whatever. But we noticed, like, coming in this community, there's a bunch of developers, there's a bunch of, lately there's been a bunch of copywriters, there's marketers, there's product managers, there's kind of everything in there. And everyone's like, oh, we just want to learn and we want to support Web3. And they kind of see our mission. And it was like, this wasn't our decision to do this token. It was like the community was like, hey, why don't we band together? We started writing like what this is going to be. And the first sentence is, we're starting a company with strangers. That's basically what's happening. So when my mom asked, what are you doing over there with Web3 Academy? I'm like, I'm starting a company with strangers. She's like, what? But it's basically it is, we like band together. We had some calls and we're like, hey, let's take this idea. Let's run with it. And now the community has a couple ideas of products they're actually going to build to help further the Web3 ecosystem. So that's really cool. We will be announcing some stuff on a potential token and how we're going to sort of form this DAO. Whether we call it DAO or not, it doesn't seem, we're not really sure. But where we're going to form that. And everyone's looking for contributors right now. Like Jay said, we have a core team of about 10. There's others that are just kind of like watching and seeing what's happening. But we need more people to help out. So if you are an expert in, let's say, Discord, or want to start running the Discord, or you're a community manager, or you can contribute designs or whatever, honestly, any skill set, we'll take it. Come on in. And big thing is join our calls. We've got like 2 or 3 calls a week right now where we're just sort of in planning stages. Jay's running a sandbox actually today. So by the time you guys listen, it'll be too late. But every Thursday we do it where we talk about different projects and kind of brainstorm. Right now we're doing that on our own because we want to build out what we're currently looking to build. So check those out. And then Mondays we do these sort of community calls where we talk about the podcast and answer people's questions and kind of dive into just like specific topics on Web3. So whether you want to learn or you want to like contribute and earn and build with us, then you can do it. Just jump in the Discord and say hi, and we will we'll help you figure out where your place is. No better time to do it than right now.
Awesome. Can't wait to see where this goes, because it's amazing what you can build when you build with strangers. Incredible. All right. And the Web3 person of the week is, drum roll, please.
Is it week or month? I feel like it's of the month because we only do a month.
Month.
It's Evan. It's Evan. Evan McMullen. Evan is the CEO of Disco. We've talked about her a couple of times. Scroll down a little bit there, Jay. But she was on the podcast on Wednesday, and she is the reason why identity is the word of the week as well, because wow, she took us in a deep rabbit hole. I feel like, as we mentioned, identity and credentials is kind of the next big unlock of Web3. And there's all these people building and doing certain things here. But Evan took us on this journey of, she talks about it as your personal data backpack, right? Like all of these different data points that we have. And she says, well, do we really want all of this on chain, right? We talk about soul NFTs and all that. Do we really want this on chain? Because on chain means public and transparent. And do you really want all of your identity, all of your data to be available to anyone and everyone, right? That's the one benefit of a blockchain, but like, do we really want that in terms of our data? And she says no, and I tend to agree with her. And so what they've done at Disco is they're building sort of this off-chain data backpack, which is still decentralized and uses a wallet, et cetera, but it connects into every blockchain. And so it doesn't matter if you use Solana or Ethereum or a layer 2 or whatever, you can get all that information, and it sort of is this like interconnecting web of web tool, let's call it, that brings all of your data everywhere, even on Web 2 stuff, all into this one sort of access point or this backpack. And then you can select and choose which data people can see and can't see. So incredible idea. I love what they're doing there. And Evan is just like this incredible, insane mind. She's just so smart, I think. And she takes you down this deep rabbit hole, and she's just a really good storyteller. It's one of my favorite podcasts we ever had. It was a lot of fun, and you can see her comment here. She says, what a party we had, friends. Thank you for joining the Disco. Let's build the metaverse of fun together. Crazy. It was just such a good episode. I highly recommend you check it out. And Jay, what was your big takeaway? What was your favorite part of that episode? Do you have one?
I think that to be honest, my big takeaway was Evan's attitude and personality in the way that she approaches this in such a fun way. Yes, there was lots of takeaways in terms of the tech and the way that she is building verifiable credentials and decentralized identity. And there's a lot to unpack there, and the difference between what she's doing versus soul-bound NFTs. But I think my big takeaway is it's so exciting to see people like Evan in the space who they understand the tech, but they also understand that in order for us to get the masses onto this, we need this to be fun. We need it to be exciting. We need to be great storytellers. And we can't just be, caught up deep in the weeds of the tech because the masses won't understand that. Evan was she's just so fun. She just made it such a good time. Her analogies of making the metaverse like a disco dance floor and let's all party and dance on that together. I just love that. It's very approachable. She does such a good job of making it, accessible and approachable.
Absolutely. Well done, Evan. And everyone go check out that episode. It's friggin' awesome. And let's talk about it in our community call.
That's a wrap. Thanks so much, everybody. What another great week in Web3. As always, if you have a chance, would greatly appreciate if you could give us a review on Apple or on Spotify. That's really what helps us grow Web3 Academy, which helps us all grow Web3, brings more people into the Web3 space. We greatly appreciate your reviews. If you're not already in Discord, jump into Discord, join the community. We're building some cool stuff. We're spinning out a DAO. Every week, so much more is happening. Have a fantastic week yourself. Practice some gratitude. Be grateful for everything you have in life. We are all so lucky. And until next week, have a great time. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Web3 Academy. We hope this helps you along your Web3 journey. And if it does, please share this episode and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. By the way, if you have yet to join the Discord community, you are missing out. This is where all the magic happens. This is where we learn, where we ask questions, where we network. You want to be in there. The link to join is in the description below. And finally, a quick disclaimer. Nothing in this podcast was financial advice. Crypto and Web3 can be risky. You can literally lose it all. In fact, if you invest on account of what we say, you probably will lose it all. So don't do that. In all honesty, the point of this podcast is to remove the noise of markets and price and focus on utility and implementation anyway. So you should not take any of this as financial advice. Thank you, friends, and see you in the next one.